Okay, we are rolling. Greetings, greetings, dear Taurus. This is you. This is Tarot Lumination. This is your mini love and relationship report, generic thing for September 2018. Okay, as you know the drill here. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and reinterpret to suit yourself. This is not really a couples reading per se. It's about you in the context of a loving relationship or a relationship. Singles, you can even watch this if you want, but you have to allow for the laws of attraction in action, okay? You're always radiating energy. So what if someone showed up? What would that look like? What would you get reflected back to you? I'm going to give you some astrodoodle notes here in a moment. Just trying to get the cards cleared. I like to go to the last second. They're already pre-shuffled before we even roll, but I just like to get them clear. Please bring in your invisible friends, your spirit guides to help you with this. That's what we do here. It really helps the situation. We're going to use the Tarot Lumination Crucible spread on the understanding that there's you, Taurus, there is a significant other, and then there's a third entity, the relationship itself, which has its own meaning, energy, identity, and so on. Let's have a look. Okay, over here. Now, with the rest of the signs this month, I'm just giving a little astrodoodle overview. It's just for this one doodle here. Let me just show you. This is for the whole planet. It's not singled out for anybody. This is like a generic chart. So you may know that we came out of August. It was very choppy with the eclipses for a lot of people, with the Leo Aquarius axis really activated. And now we had a lot of retrogrades as well. But the retrogrades are like slipping away now, and things are starting to move forward a bit. And you might feel it like a sense of relief in the physical body. And that would be nice. You might think, oh, at last. However, what I'm trying to suggest here is please be aware. I'm not putting in all the sweet stuff in the green lines and all the fun sextiles and trines everywhere, because we take that for granted much of the time. What I'm highlighting here is the rip currents and undertows that are still extremely stressful right now, more or less like this on and off through the whole month, okay? A lot of it. So I just want to add that. You, Taurus, are exceptionally vulnerable. I'm just letting you know. You're sitting energy right over here, Taurus energy, and it's under more or less, and it's not like the north. We're adding the north node here because it's such an important part of our identities, but it's not a planet, so I can't say that it's impacting you directly. But these energies still look like this. The Mars Uranus thing is still hyper stressful, and you still have Jupiter, and I think Venus is going through here too. Also, the thing is with the Pisces Virgo axis over here, that might be like your sweet spot, because these are harmonious energies with you. And even though this is a very stressful alignment in its own way, it can actually work for you to help you get through all of this. Okay, so you add it all up. Now, I just picked out some dates for you, okay, Taurus? Please bear with me. These are handcrafted, artisanally chosen, non-GMO dates that they're not vegan or vegetarian, but they are very lovingly crafted for you. September the 6th, we have this, basically, this thing is full on. That big, more or less like T-square that includes the North Node is full on, okay? Potentially very stressful for Taurians, but you've got this helping you, okay? The next date I pulled out was September the 9th. There is a Virgo new moon. Well, why is that so sweet? Well, it's because Virgo represents your 5th house of true love and romance. So if I turn the chart over here, make you the star over here, then all this Virgo energy is over here, okay? In your love life sector. Fun, happiness, creativity, creative self-expression. Now, of course, it is opposed in your 11th house by the Pisces energy here, which can make you very aware of the good habits and the not so good habits that are going on in your love relationships, okay? What's good for you as an individual, and how does that work out there in the greater world, like in a more public arena? That kind of energy. You need to take that into account. It's not just you and a significant other living inside a bubble. You live on this planet with the rest of us. Let's have a look. The next date I pulled out, September 13th. There are more or less amounts to a grand cross, one of the most stressful alignments you can find. That includes, it's on here on the North Node. That is this thing again, amplified to the max. It's very, very stressful energy, and it happens to impact you, especially the early born Taurians. Not so much the later born, but the early ones especially. And on the last one, we have September 27th, when the moon is in Taurus. The moon's going to be right here. And so that's going to amplify the stressors here too. So please watch out. I'm just cherry picking these dates for your benefit, okay? Just watch them as little calendar moments and just pay attention and be extra mindful, okay? And make the best of the good stuff. That's enough. Sorry I gibbered on so long. It's just that you're kind of in the target zone here, Taurus, okay? Please bring in your invisible friends, your spirit guides and all that. That's what we do here. Cards are already well shuffled in advance. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry about that. I love the cards the way they're made. Cards are shuffled. We're going to cut them up. Bless these cards. Bless this deck. Bless Terra Lumination. Bless you, Taurus. Bless all the gadgets and cameras and cables and internet and electricity that allows this to happen. Over here is your love energy that you're radiating. It's all your energy, but we're focusing on it from the love perspective, okay? Same thing from a significant other over here. What are they radiating? Same thing down here at the core heart soul level of you. What are you radiating there? You might be unconscious of this. Same thing with themselves. The other party over here, what are they radiating here at core levels, okay? And then going to the bedrock itself, the foundations, the relationship itself. What does that look like over here? We're allowing that there's you, a significant other, and the relationship itself. And over here, prospects and momentum. Think of this as a living, breathing thing, and you're always investing energies into it and enjoying the output of the energies. So it is like a living organism. So over here, we're going to look at circumstantial energy. That's kind of around you, like what might be impacting this. It could be something that you could blame. You could like say, oh, all of this stuff underneath here, we call that the weather. And that's a very useful thing to have that we can blame. In case we're really struggling, we can say, oh, I'm just going to blame the weather, you know? So that's kind of handy. And you would have an excuse, quite honestly, Taurus, with all this freak stuff going on here. Seriously heavy duty. It was really heavy duty in August, and it is softening up for September, but this is still very challenging, okay? Just want to let you know. So keep your guard up. Let's put it that way. Be vigilant. Enjoy the sweet Virgo Pisces energy and in your love life, but take full advantage of the challenges and use that as power from which you can grow. What's the weather like? So you got the Six of Cups. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Taurus. You might feel as though you're swimming in it right now, swimming in love. You might just be enjoying the Virgo energy already, realizing that you are deeply, deeply loved and you are deeply loving, and it's happening around you. You sense it in your significant other, perhaps in significant others. This is very, very loving energy, where my feeling is that some people call this like a soulmate card, where you are recognizing the characteristics and behaviors and identifiers of what some people call soulmate relationships or even twin flame type relationships. I'm very, very scared to use those words, but we can discuss that. My sweetheart knows a lot about that, much more than I do. So maybe one day she will grace us with her wisdom. But for now, you have to make do with Terra Lumination. This is very beautiful energy to have around you, and I think you're very aware of it, Taurus. I don't think this is just floating by like a little pretty cloud. I think you're very, very aware of the love energy that's here around you. Even if it's very fleeting, it's good to know that it's there. You know, in fact, it's always there. The love is always, we're always swimming in it, but it's beautiful when it becomes personified like this. You can actually give your sweetheart a hug, or they can give you a hug, or you know, a digital hug, an internet hug, or something like that. What are you radiating over here? Look at this. What's going on with you? Seriously, Taurus, what are you doing? This is beautiful. This is the Ace of Cups. To me, it's an indication that you are literally overflowing, flowing with love and healing. It's like you literally own it. You are now an official Terra Illumination Love Tribe uh, instrument. It's like being an instrument of love and healing, being an instrument of the healing power of love, soaking it in, owning it, and then transmitting it outward. That's what the Terra Illumination is all about anyway. The whole purpose of Terra Illumination is to be here and trigger this and open this inside every single one of you who's out there, no matter what sign you are, so that you can receive the healing power of love and then own it and then transmit the healing power of love. Classic Terra Illumination, be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Well, it looks like that's exactly what's happening, and you're getting, you're enjoying and witnessing what that actually looks like in love and relationship. So I'm very happy to see that for you, that you're radiating this. It is a guard of sacred opportunity. This wouldn't be here unless you'd earned it. So you must have put in huge amounts of work, enormous amounts of work in terms of spiritual development, spiritual healing, life growth, life healing, maturation, to get to the point where you can transmit and radiate this energy. That's phenomenal. I'm very impressed, Taurus. No matter how stressful things might be, if you can still radiate that under duress, that's incredible. What are they radiating? Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's not the end of the world. Okay? Dear Taurus, you might be relating with someone who is struggling and who's seeing all sorts of red flags, perhaps in themselves, deeply, deeply questioning themselves, themselves in the context of this relationship, the sensation that there is perhaps a third entity involved here, besides the third entity of the relationship itself. And they might be, overt about it or not so much, but it's coming out of their aura, so to speak. So if they are sensing, if you're with a significant other, Taurus, who is sensing that there's potential pain involved in the relationship right now for the significant other, perhaps they don't know how to define it or put it in words, but they could feel it. Can you see this fellow lying down here, like super stressed? He's just like super stressed out. He's lying down. There's his. So anyway, let's not take it to extremes here. My feeling is like, I often like to think of this as like a like a red warning light on something, like deep, 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 deep. Pay attention, pay attention. The heart is very exposed, very much at risk. So when you do open the heart up completely and radically, when another person does that, they can place themselves radically at risk. Now, the thing is that there's very little risk of them in relating to you. Nothing but good can come to them from you in some way, shape, or other. But how they handle it themselves, that's a whole other thing. You can't go wrong. It's like you're idiot proof in this situation. But if you're relating with a significant other who feels as though they are undone, whether it's their own undoing or whether it's coming at them, whether they deserve it or not, it's a whole other thing. But if they're sensing that and feeling it, it needs to be acknowledged in the relationship somewhere. You can't gloss over it. They might be hiding this. They might be burying this as much as hard as they can, because typically people don't want this to show in love and relationship. They don't want it to like ooze out of them. Like if it's a deep wound or a deep sore, sometimes they will bury it and hide it, even though it's right there. Even though it's right there. It's like it's almost like they would, what's the word? Go through the motions of love and relationship in order to not radiate this. But the thing is, it's almost impossible to stop the flow of this energy if it is there. It will leak out. It will come out in some way, shape, or form eventually. You just have to allow for that, okay? So don't be scared, Taurus. It might be a good time to pay attention to any alarm bells, any red alerts that you are witnessing in a significant other. And then just cast your love spell on that and see what happens. This is not the end of the reading, though, okay? We still got a way to go. What are you radiating at the core? Okay, this is, to me, very beautiful. This is an understanding that life does move in cycles and events, and this is what you might call a very significant event, timing-wise, right now. I'm looking at this, think of this, if you want to, you can think of it as a clock. It goes tick, 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 all the way through September. And all of these dynamics are kind of in and out of flow, in and out of flux, triggered a lot of times by the placements of the moon here, here, and here, or other places that can affect you too, and the way the other planets move around. But this is very, very prominent right now through the whole month. So these just happen to be extra little trigger dates that amplify all of it. So my feeling is that deep down, you're very aware. You're extremely aware that everything is exactly as it should be, and that this is part of the roller coaster of life and love and relationship. Relationships do go up and down. And just because they might be having a really hard time figuring out what they have to figure out, understanding what they have to understand, discovering what they need to learn, even if it's extremely shocking and painful to them, again, it's part of the cyclical nature of relationships. And my feeling is you know that, and it's not going to affect you. Like their demise, if they're really, really struggling in some way, shape, or form or other, that's not going to destroy you or the relationship. Okay? I think you're dealing with very, very profound soulmate energy here. And it might be a shock to them, and maybe they're not fully aware of it at the level that you are, and then they are discovering through their own perspective what it means to be in a soulmate relationship. Okay, and sometimes, as a lot of you guys know, and girls, that soulmate and twin flame type relationships, please don't quote me on this stuff, because I don't do twin flame things. We can talk about it in private if you want to come to Terra Lumination privately, but in general, I like to think of the broader energy. My feeling is that they might be, let's say, innocent, extremely innocent in some matters of the heart, whereas you might be extremely evolved and very wise in that way. And you're taking it all with the flow. You're going perfectly okay with it. Like you are allowing them to feel discombobulated. It's not going to hurt you in any way. You can be and feel fully compassionate and loving towards a significant other while they're going through some kind of crisis. Remember, a lot of this is based in fear. A lot of this is swords energy. This is not a cups card. It's not a heart card. It's the three of swords piercing a card. Three swords. So a lot of it is to do with fear. Fear, 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 which is like the enemy of love. Okay? Fear is like the absence of love more than anything. And so that might be very scary for them to understand those things. It might be beyond them. So the only way they can handle it is in what they would call heartache, or senses of betrayal or loss or confusion. Are they being screwed over? Are they screwing you over? Some way, somehow like that. So my feeling, again, you're not perturbed. You're just taking it as part of the cyclical, ups and downs of relationship. This is the Wheel of Fortune. It's sitting right here. And to me, it looks a very powerful placement, very, very supportive of you, in almost like you are riding these waves. You are not going to be overwhelmed or destroyed or undermined by any of this. It's almost like just the opposite, because you've been taking such a pounding for so long that you might now have reached a kind of a level of mastery. Like, I can do this. I can ride these waves. I know how to do this. I can do it. And I'm sorry if you can't. It's okay. It's not the end of us or the relationship. We have something above and beyond your classic, old-fashioned relationship. We've got something more evolved here, and we're just going to deal with it. Okay? If we're going through a rough patch where I'm full of love here, but you're really, really struggling, and you're just like, oh, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Then so be it. Okay? You can still be in love. You can still have a loving relationship. Even if someone is completely freaked out and freaking out. Even if you're in the soulmate twin flame thing. What are they radiating over here right now? Okay, with the Five of Swords, they might be, again, so stressed out that they're conducting themselves in a way that is actually counterproductive. If they're trying to, like the heart core level of their being, if they're trying to maintain their integrity in the face of such beautiful love energy here, in circumstantial energy that's very supportive to love at the deepest soulmate level, and they can't handle it, because if they're not used to operating at those frequencies, it can be very terrifying. If you're not used to high frequencies of love, and then you find that it's happening around you, it can be so scary that it's very intimidating. You can feel very threatened or undermined or betrayed or something because it's not your, let's say, autonomic or limbic system or conditioned or programmed understanding of what love is in a relationship. And so that can do is it can trigger a very extreme response of self-defensiveness to the point of futility, where constantly having the other might be here, constantly having to prove like to themselves and to the other that everything is okay and that they are right, and whatever is going wrong in the relationship is obviously your fault, Taurus, as opposed to handling the energies. Like, because, you know, these energies affect them just as much as they affect you. But if they're really, really struggling with all this stuff and they're just living life going through the motions, and this is the actual reality of what's going on with them, that's a serious problem for them. Not for you, but it does impact you because you're in a relationship here. So let's go to the core. Let's have a look. Okay, with the Queen of Swords here, my feeling is that there could be some kind of BS meter, BULLSHIT meter that's being activated right now, where both parties either subliminally, or overtly are basically saying, either it's spoken or it's unspoken, that there are things that are not acceptable in this relationship. And I have a feeling it's coming from their side in such a way that they feel that certain things are not acceptable. So it puts the whole relationship under stress, even if you're coming in from your deepest soulmate energy over here, and it's just part of a cycle, just literally like a weather event, and they're not handling it well. It can put the whole relationship under so much stress that you might feel it as the healing power of no, or the healing power of F off, or the relationship, it says, or it could be something like, where, remember, this is not a couples reading, it's all about you, Taurus, but we're allowing for the significant other here. So with all these swords in play here, my feeling is that their way, whatever's happening with them, is affecting the relationship to such a point that there feels like there's a rift, like things are breaking up in some way, shape, or another. Even though it doesn't have to, even though you might be some kind of profoundly ordained soulmate couple here, there's something out of whack that's either it's just not being discussed or dealt with openly. It's just all that's happening is just like some kind of wound that's exposed, and they can't handle it, so they're putting out blame, and they could be essentially the ones who are expressing, F you, or the relationship itself is saying, hold on, excuse me, everybody, excuse me, you, excuse me, you. The relationship is in jeopardy here. We need to understand that there are certain things that are acceptable and certain things that are not acceptable. We have to be very, very clear cut about this. BS is not allowed. This type of stuff is not allowed in a soulmate, deeply loving relationship. So we're going to put a stop to whatever is not working here. We need to come out with that and just basically put up the no, put up the hand that says no, and invite anything and everything that's good to come in, and basically say no to everything else. This might be very closely to do with like aftershock effects of the eclipses, the Leo Aquarius eclipses. They didn't hit you directly on the love sector, but in terms of home and career aspects, there might be so much going on with the significant other that it's like really affecting the relationship at the core, shaking the foundations here to the point where the relationship is calling out. It's showing the hallmarks that we either need to break this up or stop what is not working, identify what it is, and then invite in what needs to be fixed and work it, and then go from there. Also, with the Pisces Virgo axis here, that's highly activated right now, and with the new moon in Virgo here, highly opposed by Neptune and Pisces, both parties, you and the significant other, might be exposed to the deepest parts of self-deception and self-undoing that exist in the relationship that could not have been exposed unless both of you guys had lived through to this moment in time together. So it's very, very important to take advantage of that. In other words, don't be scared by all this stuff. Use this stuff. Find ways to discover exactly what is wrong. What is exactly going wrong for you? Okay, that could be you saying over here, okay, so you have a problem. Okay, so let's get it out. What is wrong? What's going on with it? Why are you trying to make it as though like trying to prove something that's right when it isn't? Obviously, the relationship is broken and fractured in some way. We need to do something. All I'm doing is coming from love. That's all I care about. That's all I am. That's who I am. That's what I do. Okay. So if you've got a problem, we need to deal with this. Okay. I like pretend this is your energy here, Taurus. Basically, you're calling it out, basically saying either directly or indirectly or overtly, you're going to get on with stuff. You're going to get on with things, and whatever needs to be like cut away needs to be cut away. These certain behaviors and attitudes and thoughts and perceptions are not acceptable and healthy in a loving relationship, and it needs to stop. We can still go on. We need to invite the good stuff in. Let's have a look. Okay, with the Ten of Swords here, to me it's good news in that it reaches a culmination point. All these swords here looks to me like it's adding up, that you've got a significant other here who is reaching a breaking point. Whether they're open about it or whether it's subtle or not, the energy is there. It could be very deeply hidden here. It could be at the core of the relationship, and maybe it's starting to come out on the surface here. Maybe they're starting to show signs of cracking in some way, shape, or other. But they might not express it in, direct and open ways, because it looks to me like there's a lot of internal conflict going on here. Okay, so with the Ten of Swords, I think this is a really good indication that it's really important to get everything on the table. Let's almost like have like an old-fashioned kitchen table meeting, or go to a dinner, go to a coffee shop or something, go to a restaurant or something, and get really, really blunt. And this is your reading, Taurus. So it might mean you have to make the call like, okay, sweetheart, listen, it's very, very obvious to me that our relationship has a problem. It might not be obvious to you because you might be just, being you and you're grumbling away, but you're not dealing with it. But this is affecting me, okay? We need to address all of this because our relationship can't take it anymore the way things are going right now, okay? It's not healthy. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. It's not good for the relationship. So start making a list. Identify exactly what it is that it's bugging you, okay? Because I need to know, because I'm essentially in a deep, loving soulmate relationship. I am in that loving soulmate relationship with you, okay? So we need to deal with this. We can't just, as soulmates, just say, oh, I'm going to divorce you. Sorry, you suck. I can't handle this anymore. Bye. No, this is stuff that has to be dealt with, okay? Yeah, it might be tough, Taurus. It might be very tough for them. It might mean you have to make a very tough call. Being very, very deeply loving and compassionate, loving thyself first and foremost, okay? And not putting up with this. Not putting up with this, okay? All right, thanks so much. I went on a bit long there, Taurus, because it's such a bunch of challenging issues here. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Please make the best of this. Bye-bye. Oh, hold on. Don't go away. I'll just put this here for you for reference, okay? There you go. Bye-bye.